Welcome to the Hollywood Raw YouTube page, guys. We're happy to have you here. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave us comments, do all the stuff.
What are you waiting for? Let's go. I got a drug addiction to feed.
What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited. I don't know, something about the end of the year and getting to relax and just stop moving. I'm stoked for. I mean, I feel like all we've been doing is running around this year, trying to lock down guests and putting out episodes. And so it's like, oh, finally, it's like we're gonna have a little bit of a break here.
Yeah, it's good to have a break. I feel like everyone's on break. Even like the celebrities themselves
Oh,
aren't doing as
100%.
much this time of year. So
No.
it's good for us to kind of look back and see what we've done. Because we've
Yeah,
had some pretty cool things on this podcast this past year.
we've had amazing things on the podcast, and it's funny because I was talking to you off camera about how let's do something different for this episode because
Yeah.
we've already got two celebs locked and loaded for to release, but I'm like, no, let's look back. Let's go back through our year. Let's talk about some of the biggest guests we've had. Let's talk about some of the biggest moments I don't personally for the podcast, everything, because I don't know. It's fun. We're doing really well, and I want to pat ourselves on the back just a little bit. Is that okay? Or is that
Yeah,
weird?
I think we deserve it. I think we earned it. It's no, it's been definitely a fun year, cool year. Obviously stuff on the podcast, me, us breaking stories. We actually ended the year breaking a pretty huge story. And then also I did pretty good run around the streets with my camera. Got to meet some pretty cool people. I mean, at the end of the year, my last interview of the year, because I'm pretty much hanging up my camera for the rest of the year. But my last interview was with Derek Jeter, which, come on, Derek Jeter is a New Yorker.
That's
It's
a
pretty awesome.
freaking huge interview.
And then,
Absolutely.
right before that, I'm singing on the streets with Michael Bublé. And then we also just broke a huge story. Can we talk about this story?
We
The-
can, but let me read a quick
okay.
review as we normally do at the beginning of the show, just as a quick thank you. And by the way, not only thank you to this person, but thank you to everyone who has left us reviews over the last year. It is greatly appreciated. We have been, you know, we jump around on the charts. Right. I think right now we're in the top 10 on the entertainment charts of iTunes, which was thanks a lot to you guys. We obviously wouldn't be there by ourselves if you guys weren't listening to the podcast or watching it on YouTube or any of that kind of stuff. So thank you guys all for tuning in. And let me just give a quick shout out to Lecrae Girl 5150. Great podcast. You guys make a great team. My new fave. I found you guys through Zach. Love it, guys. Great guests. Keep it going. So thank you, Lecrae Girl 5150. And thank you again to Zach for having us on his podcast. Hashtag no filter. That was a really fun podcast for us to be
Definitely.
on. And
Yeah.
been fun getting to know some of his listeners that have now become our listeners and vice versa. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's been good. Now can we talk about this story that we just broke?
Yes, because
Okay.
this was huge,
This
huge,
is
huge,
kind of
huge.
crazy. So you explain the video, then I'm going to chime in because I want to just talk about it so we have all the details.
Well, okay, so there is a bachelor contestant. Her name is Mara Great. She is coming up on this upcoming season, which is on January 3rd. It debuts with Clayton Eckhart. And listen, when you get onto an ABC show, they very much go through your background. They check out references, and they check out who you are, and they just want to make sure there isn't any big skeletons in your closet. Well, there's one thing that they missed in Mara's background, and that is she did quite a bit of adult filmmaking. And this is more of the amateur kind of stuff. You upload to some of those. I mean, how do you name those sites? It's a personal site, right? Like
Yeah.
ChatterBait or
It's a
YouPorn,
yeah,
like one of
yeah.
those kinds of things. And so there's quite a few videos of her and a guy from her past, and it's all over the internet. If you look, she went under a screen name named Emma_Great or Emma Erotica, and we've been able to confirm that is in fact her. We've had numerous sources say, "Yep, nope, I definitely know Mara, and that is her." And beyond that, we were doing a bunch of investigative work to figure out if it's her. That sounds so weird.
Yeah,
We were
no,
watching
it's
the videos to make sure that it was her, but more so, she has a tattoo that we've seen over and over again on her Instagram feed on her, like, her butt cheek, her upper butt cheek, and so we had to match this up. It's like a butterfly or something, and you see it numerous times in the films, and she's also got a piercing in her belly button, and then the guy that's in the films also appears on her Instagram page. So putting everything together, we were able to track down this massive story because ABC doesn't like this kind of stuff, and I don't know how they missed it.
how did they miss it? This is the crazy part is like when you do, when you go on these shows, they do background checks. And I'm sure they have private investigators. According, actually,
Unless we're reading into this wrong and ABC did not miss it, and they actually want this as a talking point on the show or something.
yeah, this is it's not a bad move for ABC, and we don't shame the girl for doing this. It's totally cool. I am accepting of it. It's cool. It's fine. Like, do what you got to do. It's a hustle. Be open about yourself. It's fine. I don't judge. However, I'm curious if ABC knew about this, which it doesn't look like they
Mhm.
did, according to what we've heard about from sources. And um, like, B, was this like intentional? Did they know this was gonna be good for ratings? Like, hey, this is gonna be good for the show. Let's do this girl who has a porn background and see if she wins the guy. So, but from what we've heard and what we've learned is that ABC did not know about her past.
Mhm.
It's
Which,
wild.
well, like you said, they have these private investigators that dive into every contestant so that stories like this don't come out, is
Yeah.
really what it comes down to.
The videos
So,
aren't so recent. The videos are from years ago. It's with her ex-fiance. Um, we called it's so funny. So we actually called the guy. We got a hold of the guy. He says he was engaged to her, but we do know that she was engaged to this girl. I don't know. It's a whole weird, crazy situation. She apparently doesn't know that she was being filmed for a website, but if you see the photos and the
that's
videos,
not true.
that's not
She is
true.
looking
Yeah.
directly
She knows
in
she's
the
being filmed.
camera. Like, this is 100% like you shot it. You're probably just regretting that moment, and it's not one film, it's multiple films, so you
Yes.
can't, it
We
if you watched it, you'd be like, yeah, this is like any other adult film that they're looking in the camera, they're talking to the camera, they're interacting with the camera so that they could put it up online anyway.
Yeah, we had to reach
So
out to a few people just to confirm, like, can you confirm this? Or like, oh my God, they were blown away. They're like, holy cow, I didn't know that was her.
yeah.
So wild story. But that was an exclusive from the Hollywood Raw podcast.
Yeah,
Now,
we put it up on TikTok. The Blast picked it up. A couple other websites picked it up already, so that was pretty cool.
yeah. Now on to the year in review. It's been a good year, Dex. We've met a good bunch of people on the show. You were just at this music beach festival. Together were at Sweet Stock, which was a crazy. Like, you had some music festival experience this year between
I know,
Sweet
right?
Stock and
Like,
the Odyssey Beach Festival. It's kind of a wild year for you. Who knew you
I
were
was gonna
such a
say it was.
concert
It, then that's the funny part. I mean, I like music. I just think that this year somehow I kept landing at these big music festivals, and obviously Herd at the company behind our podcast put on Sweet Stock, so that one was really fun because you get all this like super VIP access to these concerts and getting to be backstage, and with Sweet Stock that was all like, was it 90s music,
guy? Yeah, it was
right?
all pretty much
90s,
90s, all like
early
90s vibes.
2000s. I
Yeah,
don't know. But that one was fun because, you and I are both friends with Mark McGrath. So getting to see him, say
he's
hi for a
element.
little bit. I hadn't had a lot of time to meet with like the O Town guys, but like getting to know them during that concert was, I think, really fun. They were probably my favorite guys of Sweet Stock,
Yeah.
just
I mean,
personally.
Sweet Stock, it was O Town, 98 Degrees, TLC, Shaggy, the one guy from LFO,
LFO.
Chris
One guy
Kirkpatrick,
from, yeah.
Bone Thugs and Harmony. So it was just a very cool experience. And the funniest part about that experience is that there was not really a backstage. It was like a side stage with like a fence from the crowd. So I felt like we
Yeah.
were like just watching the crowd look at us. And it was just weird hanging out with like the stars of
Well, you know what was
TRL.
weird? The the people that came up to us at Sweetstock and were like super fans of the podcast. I think that was the first moment that like I had interactions with people because we'd been in quarantine a lot, I hadn't really
Sure.
been out and like, but having people, you have more people come up to you in the streets, but we had so many people come up and say they love the podcast, and I thought that was really just
Yeah.
a cool moment.
And we got to again
Now,
hang out with the O Town guys, who again really cool guys, fun, interesting story, but also blown away by their performance. Probably one of my favorites of the day. So that was really cool. I think we were just generally surprised and saw how much they enjoyed doing what they do, and like these guys are real friends. It's not like something like they work together, but they also do the whole show themselves. Like one guy does the PR, one guy does the bookings, this one guy does the merch. Like it's a
it's a little
they work
factory over
together.
there.
Yeah, so that
Yeah,
was cool.
so I will tell you I think though my favorite music moment, band moment of the year though was at the Odyssey Beach Festival
Why
when I
was
got to meet
that?
AJR
You
because
love AJR.
I freaking love AJR. They are so great. I know all their songs are like super viral right now, but getting to sit down, interview them, be on stage during their performance, like everything about it was just so unbelievably cool, and that to me was my favorite moment of the
So
year
you
when it
guys
came
were
down
there,
to.
you guys were doing interviews. Who else was at this concert festival?
Oh god, there was so many. There was Little Nas X.
I
There
know there's
was
a Youngblood.
Youngblood, Willow, Weezer, Modest Mouse, Girl in Red, 21 Pilots. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. But
Yeah.
I was there to see AJR. More than anyone, I wanted to see them, and then I got to interview them, I got to play games with them, I got to be on stage and watch them. It was so damn cool. And then they came up to me after they got off stage, and they're like, "Did you have a good time? Did you enjoy it? Did we fulfill all your expectations?" I was like, "Yes."
Yeah. That's
Just you
amazing.
talking to me right now fulfilled my expectations.
Yeah, that was
So that
just
was
good
fun.
energy. And it's fun, like obviously this episode kind of look back and see sort of the accomplishments or some of the cool moments you did. Obviously this year for me started off in the pandemic. It was cold in New York. So I wanted to get away. So I spent a few weeks in Miami,
Mhm.
and everyone was in Miami during this time. I mean, it was crazy. Just by coincidence, while I'm down here, Floyd Mayweather spent his birthday party down here, and I got invited to his birthday party. I ran into him that day at the Fontainebleau Hotel, and he said, "Hey, let's not do an interview today. Why don't you get me at one of my parties tonight?" And I went to the party tonight. I got an interview. It did very, very well for me, and it was funny because there was all these reporters, but he wound up really just talking to me, and it was cool just to kind of talk to a celebrity outside of New York City, and especially when the weather's cold there, it was nice here, and everyone was coming down to Miami. I kept running to Meek Mill, the Nelk Boys, who that was a very cool moment for me to see these guys because I'm a big fan of
Mhm.
them. But after talking to Floyd Mayweather, I got invited to a more private party for him, and we
Was
got
this
to
the
go
one at the
to
house?
yes, this was on Star Island, which Star Island is like this very exclusive island. Gloria Stefan lives there. A Rod used to live there, and I think he might still live there. And a bunch of other celebrities live there. Huge, huge mansions on this little island right in the heart of Miami. And I got invited. I got on the list. I went to this party, and it was this huge, crazy house. The weirdest part about this party is that they had the backyard, but they didn't have the inside of the house. So it's pretty much used. They rented a house and it was used as an event space. So there was like 300 people at this party, but like one bathroom, which was so fucking weird. Like when everyone needs to go to the bathroom, and I wasn't even really drinking. However, like I had to go to pee. I
I
was there for a few hours.
I love this story so much. I'm like so excited for you to get to the
Well,
punchline here because
the
it's
funniest
it's
part is
so funny and so random.
dude, I'm at Star Island, the biggest mansion, the crazy view, sick DJ playing music, good looking women, Floyd Mayweather, a few other random celebrities. And then all of a sudden, 2 hours into the party, I'm walking around with Floyd Mayweather's son trying to find a tree to piss behind. And it was like, what? And me and him are just walking around like, yo, do you want to? I'll look out. You go behind that bush. We're peeing in his backyard. So we're just peeing in fucking million this mansion's backyard because the line was too long to pee, to go to the bathroom. So it was like everyone just started peeing in the bushes. But the cool part is, I saw Floyd. We gave each other knuckles. I got a great photo with him. Like it was just cool to be there and be involved in that. And that was really cool. And then I also just got to interview a few other celebrities here. And I don't know. I like running around with my camera in Miami. It's a fun thing. You actually got to interview I don't want to a good star, sort of random, but a good star. You because
Are
I
you
was like kind
talking
of
who? Who are you talking about?
on your pod, you have another show that you do with Odyssey. You
Yeah.
got to talk to Ellen Pompeo.
Oh yeah, that was dude.
She's an
That's not.
interesting person.
She's
Like
a
that's like
huge star.
she's
What
a
are you
huge
talking
star,
about?
but she's very big. But it's like such a random star. Like it's like
So
of all people, you got to talk to Ellen Pompeo.
so super random. Agreed. However, I didn't realize like so obviously I feel like Ellen Pompeo has been famous forever and a day because of Grey's Anatomy. Um, but I didn't realize her fandom is so massive. So I had this interview with Ellen. She was wonderful, by the way, super kind, just had a really nice interaction with her. And it was funny because one thing you don't see after this interview was when we stopped down recording. Well, we stopped down the interview. The recording was still going on. That's the only reason I know this happened. I jumped off, and you hear her say, "Oh man, he was really nice. Like, what a
Oh, that's
fantastic
cool.
interview." And they sent it to me afterwards, like, "Hey, by the way, she really loved your interview."
Oh, that's
So
cool.
that was really cool.
It would be a fun exercise to try to learn a new game, see how this podcast thing works, and try it out and see if people respond to it in the same way, and just to learn a new skill, produce something new.
Well, people are already responding to it well. I see everyone's talking about it right now.
But holy shit, her fan base was so massive, or I'm sorry, is so massive. Um, I put up this interview and like I got retweeted by like thousands and thousands of people because they are so in love with Ellen Pompeo. I didn't realize the after effect of doing an interview with her. Like really um huge fan base.
It's such like a TV has like this really like people love TV,
Oh yeah,
and
dude.
I think people like shows like that. It's like people they could do like shows like that. They could do like conventions on because people be obsessed with that show, Grey's Anatomy.
Well, they
It's
do
just
have
been
the
around for
TV
years.
conventions. You know what I thought was the craziest thing about when I was doing my research about her was just how does she not have an Emmy? She has been doing Grey's Anatomy for like 132 years, and she's the staple. She is the star of Grey's Anatomy. She's never had a nomination. She's never had a win. Nothing. And I'm like, all right, now the Emmys are just doing her wrong. The Television Academy is just kind of screwing her over. This is the last season. Like, give the woman an Emmy. Good God.
Yeah,
So I went on a crusade to see if I could get her an Emmy, but I don't know if that's
that'd
going
be
to happen or
fun.
not.
I mean, show that to you. But that was a pretty cool one. I think the funniest part is you said you only had 10 minutes with her, and then like, how do they let you know like 10 minutes? Like, okay, you're done. How do they like?
Oh, I
Do they
started
still
getting
give you the light?
texts.
Wait, what
I
happened?
get text.
Oh, you get
Normally when I'm doing an interview with someone, and the publicist will still be on the phone with the producer. So I start getting text to my phone that's like, "Hey, your time's up. Your time's up." But she was so down to talk and like have the conversation that I'm like, "Well, I'm going to go as long as I can until I kind of get cut off because if you're having a great conversation, you don't want to end it right away, right?" I mean, we've had a
yeah,
couple of those where like the person's like, "I got to go."
yeah. We're gonna take a break, but we want to talk about our growth. A lot of our growth really happened in the social media world.
Well,
We
if people have watched us over the last, I don't know, 6 months to a year, you could tell that our TikTok has been blowing up.
Huge,
Our
yeah.
YouTube, IG's been on point. A lot of that it comes from Herd at Media.
Yeah, they've been able to put a lot of eyeballs on our content, and it really comes down to first the content. It's got to be clean. It's got to be nice. It's got to be presented well.
But it's also got to like speak to the audience. And
Exactly.
that was one thing that in the past before we worked with them, our voice was never out there. People
Yeah.
didn't understand like what we were trying to get across and be in like a unique, cool way. And we're finally there thanks to them.
And thanks to them, we're also to get more eyeballs on the product.
Yep.
So if you're out there looking to take your project to the next level, it's a podcast or a YouTube series or even some sort of video production, Herd at Media has been, for us, it's been absolutely incredible.
Absolutely
They really
so.
brought our game to the next level. So if you're interested in that, make sure to check out herdatmedia.com. That's HURRDAT media.com. I'm trying to look back at some like, again, I meet a lot of celebrities in person, which is kind of cool. And I try to look back to see some of the, like, my memorable experiences from me running into celebrities. And,
Yeah,
one of
who
them,
do you think would be like your biggest run in this year?
dude, I mean, it's hard to say because some of them are so big. And I'm not saying that because I'm not trying to be narcissistic. I'm just saying they're pretty huge. Like, for example, one of my biggest ones of the year was Sarah Jessica Parker in the beginning of the year talking about the reboot of Sex and the City.
Mhm.
And Sarah's like a interesting person. Maybe she's very, you never know what kind of, she's hit or miss. You just never know what kind of mood she's in. But I got this interview with her at her store, and she talked about the Sex and City reboot, which the interview ended up anywhere. So it was like a good way to start the year. Like I just got back from Miami. I went for her. She talked to me. It was right after they announced the reboot, and that one went crazy. What's up, Sarah? Sarah, what can you tell us about the new season of Sex and the City?
Sorry, I can't hear you.
What can you tell us about the new season of Sex and the City?
Nothing yet. It's called And Just Like That, and we haven't started shooting. The writers' room just opened up.
When do you think you'll start filming?
We're not sure yet. I think the vaccine is playing a major role in that decision.
Have you started looking for the fourth girl yet? The casting for the...
It's not quite as black and white as that.
I'm sorry,
We're not looking to create a fourth character. We have New York City as a fourth character, and there'll be lots of interesting new characters that we're excited about.
What are you most looking forward to? Just meeting with the girls and hanging
Just
out?
being with the women, not girls, they're women.
Yeah, they are.
Being with the women again and shooting in our city that we love, and hoping to be part of a city that's able to support artists and culture and institutions that have been closed down, and the businesses that have been hurt in the process.
That's amazing. Congrats on the store again.
Thanks
I appreciate
so much.
it. Thank
Nice
you so
to
much.
see you.
Good to see you, right?
Hi, everybody. Time to get to work.
Sarah, thank you so much.
My
Sure, I
pleasure.
appreciate
Be
it. Just was on all the other shows. And then, obviously I'm running my camera. I got a bunch of other people throughout the year. I mean, there's been so many. One of them that was very memorable for me, just because it was such an interesting time and someone who I just wanted to see and be around him, was Elon
Mhm.
Musk. And
Okay.
it wasn't one of the best interviews because so many people are trying to get his autograph because his autograph is worth so much. But just to see him and kind of like talk to him a little bit and kind of experience him, that was very interesting. Do you have any good
Baby
impressions? Are you good at any impressions?
I don't know.
I haven't got you, sir.
I mean, probably.
Yeah, please.
I mean, do I seem like an actor?
Yeah, you do.
Do I?
Well, what do you think about, obviously some people are really excited. The cast, they're saying like some of the cast might be a little nervous, but are you excited ultimately? Like, is this like one of your bucket list things to do?
I mean, I watched that live since college, so it's been like 30 years.
Yeah. The video itself did insanely. It was probably like, weirdly enough, it was my biggest video I've ever done in some
Are you
ways.
serious? More than
monetization-wise.
Connor?
Yeah,
You've had some
monetization
Conor
wise.
McGregor videos that I
Oh, well,
I
we're gonna
couldn't
get into
believe,
Conor.
like millions in a day.
Yeah, we're gonna get into Connor, but this Elon video, monetization wise, did like the most I've ever made on a video. How, I don't know. I think it was an interesting time because it was right when he's about to host SNL. Fortunately, I didn't put too much time into it, but it was it did very, very well for me. The other one was, I met Michael Gandolfini, who I've met before, but I had a really good conversation ahead of the Many Saints of Newark. And it was like a very cool, fun interview for him that kind of showed who he was and showed him off. And I think people are very curious about him. And it was a good walk and talk interview, exclusive on the streets, that people just want to see who he is before the movie came out. Another interview I did was, again, I've had a bunch. Another one that I thought did very, very cool for me was, Michael Bublé on the streets of New York City. Who is someone you would love to perform that you haven't done with yet?
You know what? I'm a big fan of Ed Sheeran,
Oh, he's great.
and he's a good boy and a good dude. And so I think him or I like Bieber a lot too. I've worked with Bieber.
You
though,
do
so,
Bieber, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who else. There's so many. It's weird when you ask me. There's so many people that I so love.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, come on.
you and me.
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
Dude, who you like right now? I mean, I like Craig David. I mean, that's so.
What? How about you and me, dude? How about you? Can you turn the camera
Yes,
on
I
yourself?
would love to. Can
we do a little bit?
Yeah.
How about, I love it when you call me señorita. I wish I would detect I couldn't reach ya. And every kiss is ooh la la la. And ooh la la la. I don't know, but we just need to work on it. But once we do, you and I love it. It's a tour, man. You're the best. Good seeing you, buddy.
I mean, this is just always good. Michael, again, I keep talking about how many I did. Michael Bublé singing on the streets of New York City. That's how I kind of wrap my year.
But this video was cooler than I think almost any of your other videos.
Yeah, I mean, it's this one was the
because
coolest video, but it's the nicest, best, most fun, interesting. It's
it
heartwarming.
it made the celebrity look so dope. It made you look cool. It was
Yeah.
just like all around a really fun video. And there's rarely moments like this that have ever happened. Like John Mayer is the only other person I think of like that has had really fun moments with the paparazzi. Like Michael Bublé had a really fun moment with you on the streets of New York.
Man, this video, it's like it makes so many people reached out to me and said, I wasn't really a Michael Bublé fan before. Like I just wasn't familiar with him, but after seeing this video, it made me want to like hang out with him. It made me a fan. And it's true. Like Michael Bublé is one of the most charming, good guys. Great to see live. That was really cool. So that was an amazing one. I got to meet Addison Rae this year, which I was very impressed with. She's very nice. She's very cool.
Addison, how you doing? Good to see you. Okay, weird question for you. What's the one food everyone loves, but you can't get into?
That's such a random question.
I know, but is there one food that everyone loves? Like, some people don't like guacamole. Like, is there any food that you don't love that you like that everyone loves that you can't get into?
I don't know, what do I have? I don't know. I don't like a lot of random things. What is the one thing I don't know.
Like, I can't get into tuna fish.
Right.
Like, I like tuna, like sushi tuna, but I don't like tuna fish. It's the smell. I also don't like Cheerios.
You don't like Cheerios?
I don't like Cheerios. It's something about the smell to me that Cheerios I don't like. So is there something that you can't get into?
Oh my god, I literally black out whenever I hear a question like that. I don't even know. There's like one thing that I don't like that I had at a dinner one time. It's like a vegetable. I can't even think of it.
All right.
I have no idea. Tofu. I don't like tofu.
You know what? I'm with you on that.
Yeah,
I don't like tofu
I'm not
either.
a fan.
She's very good to her fans. Very excited about her. I got an amazing interview with WWE superstar Randy Orton that did very well for me. You know, it's always good to see him because he's a huge star. Again, I'm naming just some of my videos. I'm like, amazing. And then, you know, there's a little thing that this was a crazy experience. Conor McGregor had a wild thing this past year. He was at the VMAs and he wound up like going after a little bit Machine Gun Kelly. It was a huge story. He addressed it a little bit and everyone wanted to talk to Conor McGregor. The next day, later that night, I ran to Conor McGregor on the streets of New York City and he said, you know what, dude, you've always been my guy. Meet me tomorrow. I met up with Conor McGregor and I had a 7-minute interview with Conor McGregor on the street. It could have been cooler. It could have been nicer. We addressed everything. It was nice. I thought I did a great job on it. I'm not tooting my own horn because for his sake, and then he did a great job. And then afterwards, he's like, I need to take a photo with my guys. You guys are my New York guys. And it was cool. It was fun. It was just great. It was one of those moments where it just kind of like, it was cool to have that moment with Conor McGregor, who's such a big star. You know, one of them, you know, actually, Conor McGregor is one of the highest earning athletes in sports of this past year. So it was just cool to kind of talk to him, you know?
But I'm gonna get back, man. You think a broken leg is gonna... You think a broken bone is gonna stop me? Think again.
Well, dude, last night, I felt like you could go last night based on what happened. What happened?
I don't know. Nothing happened last night. No,
What happened?
I'll tell you what happened, man. Tell you what it is. I'm free here in New York City. You know what I mean? I'm back in New York. I got to go to the Barclays Center again. I got to, you know, present an award. I was just going to have a good time. You know what I mean? And that's it. All love.
Are you already past it already? It's just
It's
whatever.
all good, man. You come to the next fight. Then more than, you know, come watch me perform anytime. I'll perform, no problem. You know what I mean? Everyone's more than welcome to come to my fights, to come to the shows. You know what I mean? That's
So obviously no beef with Machine Gun Kelly.
I don't even know the guy. I don't know him. Who is he? Do you know what I mean? He's supposed to be at the fights. Megan's been at the fights years. Megan has been at the fights years. So I know Megan, and then I don't know the guy. I don't know the guy. There's no problem. Come to the fights.
That's so dope. That was it's fun to see your relationships with these huge stars and just how you're the only one that gets them to talk, or they only want to talk to you when they come to New York or when they've got something going on. It's pretty amazing.
And
You know, one thing that
yeah.
I was going to say, one other interaction that I literally almost forgot about, which happened 2 days ago for me, was meeting Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh, dude. I mean, So let's talk about this. So Dax has this other company he's involved with that he did a deal with Shark Tank called Trophy Smack. It's a very cool company. It's e-commerce at trophies. They specialize in really cool, significant, like just these wild trophies that you can't find anywhere else. And Dax made it, this past year. I mean, you were on Shark Tank this past year. Well,
Oh,
the
it was
video
in January, so it's technically this year.
yeah,
We
yeah, the
taped it
video came
last
out.
year, but it aired in January of this year, so technically this year.
So the video, the show came out, the episode came out this past year of you making the deal with Mark Cuban, and your company's kind of been was doing well before, but ever since everyone knows this company, you wound up hooking up with ABC and Jimmy Kimmel, who's doing a college football bowl. They had the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl, and you wound up doing this crazy cool belt for the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl and made rings for the winning team. And so you went to the game, you and the Trophy Smack staff got to go to the game, experience
We
it on
not
the
only did
field.
we were literally in a on the field cabana. So SoFi Stadium, if you've ever seen the most expensive stadium in the world, it is top of the line. It's amazing. Well, the LA Bowl put us right down on the field, so you're there with the players as they're like running around. It's really unbelievable seats. But what was cool, so like you mentioned, we made this championship belt for the LA Bowl, which was so cool. It's the biggest belt we have ever made. But it's got Jimmy's name on it because he is the face of the LA Bowl. And we actually got to meet him during the fourth quarter of the game. They took us back because we are hearing that Jimmy loved the belt. So we got to go meet him in his cabana. And he was awesome. He was like, "Thank you guys so much. This belt is amazing. I'm really happy with the way that it turned out." We got to take pictures with him. At one moment, I actually gave him, so I was wearing one of the championship rings, and they're huge. They are just these massive rings that are all filled with jewels and blingy. And I said, "Oh, and this is the ring that the championship team gets to wear or gets to take home. Do you want mine?" And so I gave my ring to Jimmy, and he was like, "This is awesome." And he got down on one knee and proposed to Molly with it. Backstage, you see him. He gets down one knee and he's doing it to Molly, and she's like, "Oh, thank you." And then they start kissing. And it was a cool moment for that whole thing to come full circle because we'd been working on this championship belt for the LA Bowl for like 9 months. And so to finally be at the bowl game, to be there taking pictures with Jimmy and this belt we had created, and he was just so happy with it. It was really cool.
Yeah. No, the photos epic, and again, you're I mean, it's pretty cool. The belt, I was actually in LA and got to see the belt, and it's a big belt. The belt
It's
is
huge,
massive.
right?
It's massive. It's bigger than your average championship belt, but it's very, very cool, and it's one of a kind. So it's just cool that you guys got involved with it, and it's just trendy. Like it's just cool to have like a belt like that. Um, I want to get into actually one of my least favorite encounters because again, you hear all my this celebrity encounter
Oh,
was great, this celebrity encounter was
see,
awesome.
this is why I love how your brain works because I was sitting here like, "Oh, yeah, we're talking about all good things." Yes, tell me your least favorite encounter of the year.
So my least favorite encounter of the year. Ready for this? If you had a
Mhm.
guess, Stacks, who do you think it was? Just like a random name. Like, and again, it's not like I even met them. Just who do you? I would be surprised if you know this story because we talk a lot. If you remember this one,
I mean, I would always just I would always just say Alec Baldwin, but
that's a good
I
call.
don't know who was your least favorite.
My least favorite encounter of the year was with Tasha Adams from the
What?
Bachelorette and the Bachelor. Oh my God,
I
brutal,
don't think I
brutal,
know
not
this.
cool, man.
You
She
haven't told
was
me this
brutal.
story.
So Tasha Adams, I thought would be very nice. So it'd be very cool. Obviously, I had a friend who worked with her when she was doing like promo modeling for a little bit and said she was super nice. And I was at the airport
And now is
for
this in the like was her season airing at this moment or like give me the timeline
this
of
was after. This
where
is
her
after
season was.
this is after she's out dating the guy Zach, and um she was out dating the guy Zach, and I ran into her. I was at the airport for someone, and she was on the flight with Keegan Michael Key. And I was there for Keegan Michael Key, who is one of the nicest people out there. Like such a cool dude, such a good guy, nice, good to the fans, just a good person. And I got Keegan, and Keegan was so cool, so nice, fun, cool. And he watched me go up to her with the camera and try to talk to her, and she could not been worse. She was absolutely terrible. Her and the guy were absolute assholes to me. I tried talking to them off camera. They were dicks. They were terrible, like not nice, not cool. And it's crazy how
You know what's
nasty they
funny?
were.
We've talked about this a lot, though. We've talked about how a lot of reality stars and people that have gotten famous quickly are not kind, or like they think they're bigger than they are, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Well, it's
And
crazy. Yeah.
they don't always treat the paparazzi or fans or anyone nice, because it's just like, I don't know. But then you talk to the biggest stars in the world who are the kindest people to photographers or anyone, like Brad Pitt. I've never seen a bad interaction with Brad Pitt or with Angelina Jolie or with Jen Aniston. There's certain people that they've just become so big that they're used to it, where reality stars or people that have become famous quickly are just like, oh, I'm too big for this. I don't want to be chased down, or I don't want to talk to someone, or I don't want to this fan near me. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, she was it's funny because Keegan Michael Key saw the incident and he was like, whoa, like he was like, what the hell? And we started talking about it. He was like, dude, that's kind of weird. I was like, dude, I thought this girl would be loving it, but she couldn't have been any nastier. I tried to like shake their hand afterwards and they were like, basically, like, get the fuck away. Like they were so nasty. And Keegan Michael Key saw it go down. He's like, dude, that's such a shame. Like these are the people that actually kind of should be embracing it and needing it. And then it's funny because then I ran into her maybe a few months later, 2 months later with Caitlin Bristow. I ran into Tasha and Caitlin Bristow, and Caitlin was super nice. And Tasha was taken back because Caitlin was so nice to me. And Tasha was trying to be a little bit nicer, but she was so
Yeah.
confused and weirded out by the situation. But Caitlin was very nice to me, and I appreciated that. But Tasha was so nasty. And then it's funny because, a few weeks later, Tasha is doing setup shots for paparazzi. 1,000 and 2,000 press. She's doing setup shots with a photographer. I was like, okay, now you need us, okay? And she's doing setup shots with paparazzi. And now I can't even get a photographer. If I have a tip on her, I can't even get a photographer to across the street to shoot her. So, shit sucks, Tasha. And yeah, I hope you get nicer.
I'm trying to think. I don't think I had any bad interactions this year. I'm trying to think if I had any at all, but
I'm trying to think if you did.
think so.
No, I don't
Did
think
I?
you did. No,
think
I'm
I
trying to think
did.
if we had any you had
I
on the
would say
podcast.
the one person that I wanted to interview that we didn't get to was Shaggy at Sweetstock.
Yeah, that was a
He
weird
and
one.
he was literally there all day long, but just in his trailer, just didn't come out.
That was weird. And then also, yeah, you turned it around because you had a weird incident with who was on our podcast with Kendra Wilkinson, who turned out to be very sweet. It was just that she clearly didn't want to talk about the Playboy stuff.
Listen,
Yeah,
I
this is
don't
called
expect you
Not
to
the Big
remember.
Mansion, so let's fast forward to reality now.
Say what?
I said this is called reality now. This is not the Playboy Mansion anymore.
No, I was gonna just show you a picture of the two of us hanging out back then.
So I thought about this a lot. So we had Kendra Wilkinson on, that's just like what, a month, 2 months ago? I don't even remember. I feel like everything's blurred together. A couple weeks back. But we had Kendra on, and she was definitely a little fired up. And when we started off the interview, like I was kind of almost taking it personally. That like, oh, she's grumpy or whatever. But what I realized halfway through is it had nothing to do with the interview with us. She was at home with her kids by herself. She's a single mom, and she was literally in the car trying to like make it a soundproof area. And while we're there, her kids are then coming up to the car, knocking on the windows. So I think that it was just a moment where I caught a mother who was trying to do a lot and appease me while on camera. It was too much. And
Yeah.
so I think at the moment I was like, whoa, why is she so grumpy with me? But then it was like, oh no, I'm a parent. I know what this is about. She's got too much on her plate right now, and I'm lucky to even have her on the podcast.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Well, that's a good way of looking at it. Okay.
Dude, so many good stories from this year, just really interesting interactions. I don't know. I feel like I live my life vicariously through you and all your like fun little moments on the street. I love it. It's so
Yeah,
fun.
it's been, this is only some of the moments. I got to go on one last moment. I was at the Knick game, the playoff game, and there was a guy who looked like John Stewart's brother, and he was waiting for an hour and a half, waiting for someone to come to the game. And I'm at this entrance. I think it's 4 Penn Plaza. the side where all the celebrities go in. It's sort of like gates, so you can't really get too close to them. But I was there to get some clips of whoever's showing up to the Knicks game. This guy was waiting for like an hour and a half, waiting for someone to come in. And finally, 5 minutes before the game, I see a police escort coming down the street, and I see a black SUV going behind it. I think it's a politician. And then as the car gets closer, it says New Jersey State Police. I'm like, huh? And then who gets out of the black SUV is the new head coach of the New York Jets, which I'm like, wow, this guy got a police
So we got
escort.
a police escort.
He got a police escort to a Knicks game. I'm like, dude, this is a story. Like, this is interesting. This guy gets a police escort to a Knicks game. He goes into the game. I send the video in, and I'm like, this is a little weird that this guy got a police escort. Find out that this guy, the police, were never given permission to cross state lines to give this guy a police escort to the Knicks game. Like, how was that possible? Why was this guy given of everything going on in the world? Why was this guy given a police escort to the Knicks game? How was he given permission? Why were the cops doing that? And wound up being a big story. I got a call from investigators saying, hey, like, we just want to talk to you about this because they were investigating it. And I was like, hey, listen, the video speaks for itself. This guy got a police escort from New Jersey State Troopers into New York for the Knicks game. So it's just,
Dude, you're just
I don't know.
breaking stories left and right. So here's the thing. Okay, we have a lot more to do on this episode. I wanted to get into like some of the biggest stories of the year. But I'm almost thinking, if you're cool with it, do you mind if we save that for next week's episode? And then we
Yeah,
kind
let's
of
do
get
it.
into, because I really want to kind of break down the whole Britney Spears conservatorship stuff and kind of like the roles that we played in a lot of these bigger stories, like Ben and J-Lo. I mean, I was there for the moment that they like got back together. I want to get into it, but I feel like this episode is already good enough and it kind of stands on its own. And I don't know, we just have, and really want to spend the time. Do you mind if we save that other stuff for
I
next
do
week?
not mind, Axel. I do not
Okay.
mind.
All right. So we're going to save that stuff for next week. Next week, we'll do kind of like the big stories, the Kim and Pete getting together. I mean, you know that obviously Adam has a deep connection into all of that kind of stuff. And I want to get into Alec Baldwin and that crappy story. But okay, we'll save all that for next week. And we'll get back to it. So Adam, wrap us up. You do the best at the wrap up job.
I'm kind of pissed, dude. I was supposed to do did I tell you I was supposed to go to SNL this week and then they got rid of the crowd and I couldn't go to SNL? So that kind of stunk. I'm a little bummed. Yeah, I was supposed to go to SNL this week and then they got rid of the audience because the Omicron pandemic that's going out there. So they got rid of the audience. So I just got the news, which sucks. But guys, follow the Hollow Raw podcast on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We're on it all. We got a private Facebook group where we give out tons of exclusive content that you can't find anywhere else. The best thing to do to support this podcast is leave a review, 5-star only, say a few kind words. And if you leave a review, we'll say it live on air. If you want to see behind the scenes paparazzi videos that you can't find anywhere else, make sure you follow us on all the social media platforms. You can find me
Especially
at Adam Glenn.
shout out to the TikTok page, which just broke 50,000 followers. Woo! Oh, am I just cheering by myself?
I just want to hear you
a-hole?
sing.
Thanks
I
a
just want to hear
lot.
that. I want to
Like,
hear
you're
your
not even
note.
cheering. Like,
I was
it's a
cheering.
big milestone for us.
I liked your Oprah voice, so I just want to hear you. Woo woo. I just wanted to hear your tone. I want to hear your range, dude.
And you
Yeah, we
get
got
a 50,000, and you get a 50,000.
We have 50,000 followers on TikTok, thanks to you guys. But we got really awesome content on there. You can find me at Adam Glyn, Glyn. You can find Dax Holt at DAXHOLT. We'll see you guys next time. What's up, guys? If you like that video, there's plenty more where that came from.
Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell so we can just feed you all the goodness daily.
Hurry up. Come on, let's go.